Hello everyone. I hope this video finds you in a beautiful place wherever you are. I am going to talk about one of my favorite topics ever, creativity. I believe that creativity is the elixir of life. It feels so good to create. Creativity is delicious. It's life-giving. It feels good. And to all my high-achieving entrepreneurs, artists, CEOs, it's truly everything. Not only does it help our careers move forward and can lead to massive success, it feels amazing. I really believe that as humans, we deep down, every single one of us, we are creators. We're here to build, to move forward. And it could be, as big as creating a business and as seemingly small as creating the intricacies of your daily life. Whatever it is, it feels really good to be conscious of what we're creating and to have a hand in co-creating with the world around us. How do we get more of it? How do we continue to feel creative? Before I start, I also want to name that some high achievers don't actually think that creativity is for them. They think it's something maybe reserved for artists or inventors. And the truth is, creativity isn't a skill set. It's not something to be attained or learned. It's actually a state of being. So I'm going to share why with you in this video, that creativity is something that moves through us. It's something that comes from within us. And it's not something to logically refine or find or sit down and do a Venn diagram to try to be creative. When we're feeling creative, when the ideas are flowing, we're in a state of being. And it can be really frustrating sometimes if we're need to think of a new idea, but we're not feeling the flow. We're not feeling in touch with that creative side. So think of when you've gotten some of your best ideas. In the shower. A lot of people I know get downloads in the shower, driving on a road trip or an open road or on the way to work, maybe while exercising or meditating. Good ideas aren't something to plan or to force, especially the best ideas. You can't really try to be creative. In fact, that can be really frustrating if you try. Ideas actually come to us when we aren't looking for them. They come from within us. They kind of land in our mind and it's aha, that's what it is. I've had a client before say, they woke up in the middle of the night and figured out the solution to this trial they were going through. And it just came to them in the middle of the night. And when the ideas pour, they seem to pour. So sometimes if I'm feeling in a certain state of mind, I can have a massively, quote unquote, productive day and move my business forward in a really powerful way. And it seems like what I got done in an hour, just by myself, in a state of ease, could have been the same thing that I could have gotten done in 2 8-hour days brainstorming with a bunch of people in a really formulated way. So as high achievers, as people who love to be forward focused and create, we really want to find those super elixir of life hours where we're creating in this really high level. Step 1 is to move out of the state of stress. So when our bodies are stressed, it is not time to close our eyes and dream and create. Think of this. If you were being chased by a wild animal while on a hike, would it be advantageous to close your eyes and move inward and create a solution to get out of their way, the animal's way? No. It is more advantageous to save our physical bodies, to stay alive, to be hyper-focused on the external world, to find either a place to hide, to find a tree to run up, to use every single bit of energy in the body to get away from the animal, to get out of the face of threat. So when we're in a state of stress, even though it may not be an actual animal and we may not be in a state of danger, our bodies might be perceiving it as such biologically. And we become hyper focused on the external world. So if you're having a really busy day at work, or you're having a really stressful time with your family, or you had a really challenging commute to work, or you just woke up on the wrong side of bed, you're going to be hyper focused on the world outside. And we know that ideas don't come from anywhere outside of us. We can't think our way into ideas. It's something that comes from within us. And to go within, we have to feel safe enough to close our eyes and to let the internal world become more real than the external world. So when you think of these moments of like being in the shower or commuting, driving, we're in a state of ease. Same with exercising, like going on a run. It's like we're not necessarily super focused on the external world. Now we should be when we're driving, but driving has actually become really autopilot for many of us, especially if it's the same commute every day. Or if you're on a freeway and you're driving through Nebraska on an open road, there's not a ton of reasons to be super hyper focused on turning or seeing this car over here. You can kind of expand your perspective and radius. Anyways, side note. So we want to move our bodies out of this state of being hyper vigilant to the world around us so that we feel safe enough to close the eyes. We feel safe enough to go inward into a state of creativity. Brainwave wise, this is referred to as alpha brainwaves. And alpha straddles this bridge between the conscious mind thinking, which is beta brainwaves, higher frequency, and theta, which is access to the subconscious mind, which is slower brainwave frequency. It's kind of that feeling of right before you get to bed and you're seeing little images and flashes. That state can be very highly creative, but it can be really hard to pull that imagery or those uncoveries into conscious awareness. So alpha is when we're just slow and we're relaxed and we're creative. It's really good for learning. We feel safe in our environment. So step 2 would be to do something that slows down your brainwave frequency. So we're out of a state of stress. We created an environment where we feel safe. We want to do something that slows down brainwave frequency into that alpha state. So this could be pour yourself a bath. I love taking midday baths, and I find that I'm so creative in the bath because I'm not on technology, and I'm generally, I don't read or anything. I don't do anything in the bath. I just take a bath and I just let my mind float. Very creative. You could meditate. You could go on a slow nature walk. Nature walks are really lovely because it widens our perspective to be not so narrow focused and in survival. And we can start to just kind of like receive and be and float in our environment. And then we literally access this internal world where these juicy ideas lie. And again, it's not like we can't go into it with an expectation of I'm going to have these great discoveries, because that expectation puts this pressure on it. And when we're in this state of striving for a result or needing something, we are in beta brainwave frequencies, which is higher, and it's not as creative, and the ideas can't come through us. So we know the best ideas come to us when we aren't looking. So the key is carving out space for those ideas to come forth without expecting them to, with just letting them come to. It can be really hard to do this. And then step 3 is have a pen and paper ready to write the ideas down when they come. Some of my clients have shower markers, and so they'll literally in the shower, when something comes to them, just write it down. Because when we're in this slow brainwave frequency state between theta and alpha, it can be hard to remember what the idea was. Like it almost loses its potency or it loses its charge. We're like, how did that fit into the big picture of things? Write it down when you're thinking of it. Same thing when you're meditating or when you're taking a yoga class. It can be really helpful to have a pen and paper next to you just to jot something down as it comes. It doesn't have to be the full extensive idea. You can jot something down to help you remember and then continue back into your visioning or your flow. When you're walking, maybe you have your phone in your pocket and you just leave a voice memo. Things like this. So you want to be able to capture the ideas as they come and understand what the revelation was around why they're so important. Yeah, even when you're like waking up from a dream, for example, like when you're waking up in the morning, a lot of like think of when your dream felt so real, And then like within a minute, it feels like it just slipped away and you can't remember it again. It's the weirdest thing. So a lot of people, if they have dream journals, they have their dream journal right by their bed, and then they'll grab their notebook and write it down quickly. And I have a whole list of, my dreams, and there's very few that I could consciously remember right now and share with you all. But when I go and read through my dream journal, I'm like, oh yeah, that dream. Oh yeah, that dream. Oh yeah, that dream. And I remember them and they have a feeling to them. So bottom line, to access a state that is creative, we have to feel good. We have to move out of a state of stress and feel better in our bodies. And high achievers, I find, those who are so hyper-focused on getting things done and love to create, they often have a hard time carving out time to slow the nervous system down. This is why I'm here to help. I love doing this. I work with high achievers and help them to strategically carve out little pockets of their day. It's different for every person and it's different with every schedule, where they can just move the body out of a state of stress and striving and external focus and get off of that hamster wheel and just let the body rest. Creativity is just one of the many benefits of this. And it can be as little as, 5 minutes to just drop the brainwave frequency state to check you out of a state of survival. It can be as much as several hours. It really just depends on what you want, how much time you have, what your life is structured like. It is truly one of my life's greatest joys to help people find a state of creativity. I love doing it. I love it, love it, love it, because I love being creative myself. And I would love to work with you to soothe your nervous system, slow your mind, and access these really, really high levels of potent creativity where the ideas won't stop flowing. It's such a fun place to be, and we truly can't be there unless we're in a state of flow. So if this interests you, you can email me to inquire about coaching packages. I'd love to work with you. My email is down below this video. And you can also stay in touch. I have a text message list, and I love sending out kind words, sweet quotes, things that inspire me. I love sharing them with my text message list. And then, of course, please do subscribe to this channel to stay informed about, how to take this high achieving energy that is so good and so yummy, but make it even more delicious. I really believe that you don't have to choose between well-being and productivity. Like, you can have both. And why not enjoy the process of getting where we want to get? I know you're thirsty over, creativity and innovation, and you want that. And I would love to help you find these states and feel good in the process. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.